Today, the church celebrates the King who was, who is, who will be. The King from the royal blood of David. This celebration today marks its 100 years that it began. In 1925, Pope Pius XI instituted this solemnity. Why? Because the world was being secularized. Secularization is the concept of removing God from the world. It is still prevalent in our world today. In many ways, the world is trying to make sure that the concept of God is removed totally. That people no longer reverence God again. So Pope Pius began this, and he says, let us celebrate, let us tell the world that Jesus is still the King. He is still reigning. And the celebration began in 1925. Today marks the 100th anniversary of this celebration. Jesus is the King of the universe. We need kings in the likeness of Christ. We need kings in the likeness of Christ. In the first reading, the people came to David in Hebron and asked him to be their king. What was their reason? They told David, even while Saul was alive, you were leading us. So the reason they wanted David to become king was because he had the quality of a leader. But it is a pitiable thing that in our world today, we have many political leaders who are not elected or even selected because of their competence, but because of godfatherism. We have many of them who are selected because of nepotism, tribalism. And the worst of it all, we have leaders who are selected because it is their turn. We need leaders, kings in the mind of Christ. When they came to David, they told David, when Saul was king, if you read 1 Samuel from verse chapter 16, you see the last days of King Saul. He disobeyed an instruction from God given to him by Samuel, and the Spirit of God left King Saul in 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 14, and an evil spirit took hold of him, that he acted in an insane way. Several times he would want to pin down and kill David with a spear. So we can call that Saul in his last days was a mad king. And our country has experienced mad kings, mad leaders. We have experienced mad leaders. The world have experienced mad leaders. But their reign will never be forever. To even think that we will learn from the mad kings, the mad leaders that we have experienced, but we never learn. They said the people, that means they learned from their experience with Saul. So they decided to change the status quo. The elders, in the reading we had this morning, in verse 3 of chapter 5 of the second book of Samuel, the elders. We have elders in our society. We have electoral commissioners, electoral directors. We have supervisors during elections. And the worst is that we have professors who are collection and returning officers of elections. Professors who you will think that are the best of the best. Professors who will go there. One of the days, I think in 2015, I think that was the election, 2015, there was an election. I was in Seat of Wisdom Seminary, Owerri. We had a difficult time casting our votes. So when we came out, we were still on the way inside the car of one formator who had taken us to the booth there. Before we could arrive at school, the car radio was on. We were on the way. So many other persons. The result for our center was called. Even before it could be collected. We have these returning officers. So when you tell our youth this day that education is not a scam, how do you reconcile it that the best of the best intone the worst in our society? We need kings in the mind of Christ. And in the gospel reading today, we heard Jesus crucified on the cross. And the rulers were mocking him. The soldiers were mocking him. People were all around, but they were indifferent. The rulers. Are they not still mocking us even now? In the space of 1 week, this country have experienced series of attacks. Series of attacks from Borno. Many local governments in Borno are now sacked. Nobody lives there. 𝐍𝐄𝐄𝐃, Para, Niger States. Even in Benue, a governor will stand and tell the whole world that there is nothing like genocide in Benue. Why, with our own eyes, we watch the killings in Yenawata, where people were burnt alive. Sometimes I tell myself, am I Christian enough? Because I keep imagining the fate of these people in these regions. These things happen, yet they still come to church. In Eruku, Kwara State, they were in the church. If you watch the clips making round on the internet, you see old women. When they enter, you see the struggle. And I am guessing that one of the old women had a stick, but because she was running for her life, she forgot her stick. She was leaping. And yet someone will come up and tell us that there is no genocide in the country. And another election will come, and the elders, with people who are indifferent, They will give during the elections 1,000, 2,000, and a can of malt, and somebody will sell his right of choosing the leaders in the mind of Christ. And the soldiers mocked Jesus. We still have soldiers who mock us now. They think they are fighting a just cause, sacking villages. They call themselves bandits. When you call them that they are committing genocide, you see sympathizers who will come up to say we should dialogue with them. We should deal, they are our brothers. One of the days I went to our cathedral and I met about, I think they were 6 in numbers or 8 in numbers, I think. They were Sumerians who could not go back to their states in northern Nigeria. So some of them were given shelter in my diocese. And during the meal, I questioned one of them. He said 6 of his family members were killed in one night. And this young man is still in the seminary. He still had faith in God. He still believed that Jesus is still king. We need leaders. A governor was saying the recent one where they went and took away school children, little babies, that shortly before they came, the security operatives that were posted around the school vacated their post 30 minutes before they came. And the people who say that they are not complicit and complacent in what is happening in Nigeria. We need leaders in the mind of Christ. And then there were 2 thieves with Jesus. We read in the gospel today, 2 thieves. It is not enough to hang on the cross with Christ. You might still be coming to church today and you'll be worse than the leaders. We have 2 thieves hanging on the cross, and one of them was mocking Jesus. These 2 thieves, especially the one that was mocking Jesus, represent us who are not innocent to what is happening in the country. That thief represents some of us who have government works, but we don't go to our local governments. In the morning, people come, write their names in the logbook, and then they go away. That thief represents us who are in power. Look at our local government here. How many roads are built in the whole of Oyibo? Go through the streets, the roads. Yet people are in charge. That thief represents those of us who, when the government wants to do something good in the community, they come out. If you don't give us so amount of money, you don't do such. That thief represents some of us who are here listening to the word of God and saying, tell the government, yet you are already planning evil to do. You're already planning how to give the information of your neighbor who is driving a beautiful car to kidnappers so that he will be kidnapped. Of course, when such things happen, it is from people who are around. And some of them come to church. That thief represents some of us who know that our goods have expired in the shops. We sell drinks, we sell beverages that have expired. The high rate of kidney failures in young people now is skyrocketing. Yet we sell those expired goods to people and they eat. And we ask, what is happening? It is not enough to come to church. It is not enough that the thief was hanging on the cross with Jesus. The only way we can be saved is what Jesus said in John chapter 8 verses 32. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall do what? Set you free. And the other thief, he said, do you not know that we did why we are condemned? It is our own fault. He owned up to the truth. If only we say the truth, if only the truth starts from the church, from the leaders in the church. If only the truth starts from us, then we'll have leaders in the mind of Christ. If only the truth starts from the church, then a man who is donating to the church knows that his donation would not cover up the fact that he goes to his house to beat up his wife. If only we say the truth, then we can become kings in the mind of Christ. Kings in that school where you are teaching. Kings. We can become kings in our families. And in a special way, we can become kings in the government. How many of our leaders have come up with the truth of what is happening in the country today? This man said the truth. He was with Christ. And Jesus said, today, you will be with me in paradise. Because if we do not say the truth, we might hang with Christ and yet we will not make heaven. The data for kidnapped and killed priests for 2024 came out, and it was very alarming. And yet each time these things come out, nothing is done. In this matter, as we are going out to process around the neighborhood, let your own mandate be that after today that the King of Kings is passing. Psalm 24 verses 7 said, "O you gates, open so that the king might pass." If we process today and you yourself do not open your heart to be truthful, then the king will not live in us. It is not just that the king is living in the world. You ask yourself, is the king living in me? Am I truthful? Is the church truthful, or is the church becoming too complacent? That as many Catholics are going to go around the whole country today, let it sanctify our land. Let it bring out truths. Peace be with you.